Most people are afraid to be alone with themselves. Not afraid of loneliness exactly. Afraid of what the silence might say. Afraid of what they might find if they stopped filling every moment with noise, with people, with distraction. The powerful man is not afraid of this. He has been in that silence. He has met himself there. And what he found, once he stopped running from it, was not emptiness. It was everything he needed to build. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and wrote his most important work entirely alone, for no one but himself. Epictetus taught thousands and then went home to solitude. Seneca advised emperors and then retreated to his own company to think. Here are the 7 reasons powerful men choose to be alone.
Solitude is where you hear yourself think. In the noise of the world, you hear other people's thoughts dressed as your own. Their opinions about who you should be, their fears about what is possible, their definitions of success, of happiness, of a life well lived, seeping into you through every conversation, every social interaction, every moment of shared space. In solitude, that noise stops, and in the quiet, something appears that most men rarely encounter: their own actual thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, he wrote this alone at dawn before the empire demanded his attention. That morning solitude was where he found himself. You cannot hear yourself in a crowd. The crowd is always louder. Go quiet. Go alone. Listen to what surfaces when the noise stops.
You cannot build yourself in a crowd. Every significant thing ever built was built in solitude. Not the final result. That may be shared, displayed, celebrated. But the foundation, the thinking, the struggle, the failure, and the refinement, all of that happens alone. The writer writes alone. The philosopher thinks alone. The warrior trains alone before the battle. The man who transforms himself does it in the hours that no one sees, in the space that no one occupies but him. Epictetus: it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. In a crowd, you perform what you already are. In solitude, you become something you have not been yet. The crowd is for sharing what has already been built. Solitude is where the building happens. Most social energy is borrowed, not owned. This is the truth most people sense but never articulate. When you are with people, even people you love, you take on something of their energy, their mood, their state. You calibrate to the room, you adjust, you respond. That calibration is exhausting, and the energy you perform in company is often not your own. It is borrowed from the situation, the expectation, the social contract. Seneca: retire into yourself as much as you can. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. The man who spends too much time in crowds loses track of his own baseline. He forgets what he actually feels when he is not performing for anyone. Solitude returns you to yourself. It is where you find out what energy is genuinely yours and what you have been performing.
Solitude reveals who you actually are. Character is not who you are in company.
Character is who you are when no one is watching. In solitude, the performance stops. The mask comes off. What remains is the actual man, his real thoughts, his real fears, his real desires, his real quality. Some men discover in solitude that they don't much like who they are when no one is watching. That is the most useful discovery a man can make. Marcus Aurelius spent years in meditations confronting exactly this: his real character, his real failures, his real distance from his own ideals. He did not do this in public. He did it alone.
Solitude is the mirror that cannot be avoided. The man who fears it fears what he might see. The man who seeks it trusts that whatever he finds, he can work with. The man comfortable alone is never desperate. Desperation comes from need, and the man who cannot be alone needs other people in a way that makes him vulnerable to every form of manipulation. He needs their approval, their company, their attention, their validation. And whoever holds those things holds him. The man who is genuinely comfortable in his own company needs none of this. He can take other people or leave them. He can be in relationship without being dependent on it. He can be social without being addicted to it. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. The man who has himself fully, comfortably, contentedly has enough. Everything else is addition, not necessity. And from that position of sufficiency, he never reaches for others out of desperation. That lack of desperation is one of the most attractive and powerful qualities a man can possess. Great work is always done in solitude. Every man who has created something that lasted did it in solitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations alone on military campaigns, not for publication, not for recognition, but for himself. Newton developed his laws of motion during a plague lockdown entirely alone. Einstein described his greatest breakthroughs as coming in solitude, in thought experiments conducted entirely in his own mind. The pattern is consistent across all of human history. The work that matters emerges from silence. Not because other people are useless, collaboration has its place, but because the deepest thinking, the most original ideas, the work that requires you to go somewhere no one has been, that cannot be done in company. Protect your solitude. It is not absence from the world. It is where your contribution to it is born. Solitude is where the Stoic does his real work. For the Stoic, solitude is not rest. It is the primary practice. The daily review, examining what you did well, what fell short of your ideals, what you would do differently, requires silence. The premeditation of difficulty, preparing your mind for what the day might bring, requires quiet. The study of philosophy, the refinement of values, the slow work of becoming who you have decided to be, all of it requires time alone. Marcus Aurelius did not write meditations between meetings. He wrote before the world started, in the dark,
alone. That daily solitude was not incidental to his greatness. It was the source of it. If you want to build something in yourself that the world cannot easily touch, go into solitude regularly, deliberately, and do the work that only you can do there.
There is a difference between loneliness and solitude that most people never learn. Loneliness is being alone and wishing you weren't. It is absence. It is lack. Solitude is choosing to be alone because you have found that your own company is worth keeping. It is presence. It is fullness. The powerful man is not alone because he cannot connect. He is alone because he has learned that the most important connection he will ever make is the one with himself. And that connection requires quiet.
Learn to be alone, truly alone, without your phone, without noise, without distraction. Then, from that place of completeness, choose your company. You will choose better, you will give more, and you will never again mistake noise for nourishment. If this path speaks to you, continue it below. New Stoic wisdom every week.